I'm told you're going camping this weekend, except it's not really camping because you're staying in a cabin and it's kind of bullshit. Your words.
We are, is literally what I told you about 30 seconds ago. We are going on a
sure is
school outing to the San Francisco KOA, which is actually in Petaluma. I don't know, man. Like, we have a cabin. I'm actually also, well, by the time you hear this, I'll be on my way back, I guess. So it's probably fine. But like, I don't know. It's like they have an arcade. There's a pool. There's basketball courts. It seems like a very 50s-y kind of camp. Not like going backpacking into the wilderness and maybe seeing a bear, but more like, just going someplace that's a little bit outside of town with a bunch of other people. And like, there's going to be, the kids can roam free or something. I don't know.
You're not exactly washing your coffee cup out in the river every morning, is what you're saying.
Man, I hope not. I do have to take my own coffee maker though. So.
Oh man, you're really roughing it. I mean, does this qualify as glamping?
I think this is like above glamping. Like, glamping is like when you roll in with the van and you unload a whole house worth of crap into your tent.
Right.
This is like, I have a toilet. I don't think this counts.
Like, glamping is arguably also bullshit, but at least it's actually in the wilderness.
I mean, at least there's an air mattress. There's a slight element of discomfort with a glamp, right?
Like, you've got indoor plumbing. That's just a hotel, and that's a log cabin hotel. I mean, that is a log constructed hotel.
It's like an Airbnb, but with a company. It's like a hotel. It's weird. I don't know. I'll let you know how it goes next week. But I got to figure out what my Memorial Day cooking. Like, I got to figure out is ribs a traditional Memorial Day?
Oh, I'd say burgers and hot dogs.
That's always seems like more 4th of July to me.
You think so? That's just my answer for everything. Actually, I have no idea.
I often will do like a coffee rub pork butt.
Ooh.
Where you do like you put some coffee and sugar and salt on the outside and let it sit in the fridge overnight, and then cook it real low at like 200 degrees for a long time until it all falls apart. But I don't know. Maybe we'll just do hot dogs and hamburgers. That also sounds compellingly simple.
What is your grill strategy? I mean, do they have on-premises grilling facility?
Brad, every cabin comes with a gas grill.
Man.
Yeah, they'll deliver wood for the fire pit too if I ask them to. Yeah.
It's the most pathetic camping experience I've ever heard.
I'm going to go and tell you, I think this entire situation is set up to upsell us to a bunch of other stuff. Like, when have you ever gone camping that there's an arcade? That's madness. Doesn't seem right.
Are they going to offer to run gigabit to your cabin for an extra fee?
The internet's bad. Apparently, you have to go over to you have to go to the office and hook onto the Wi-Fi, or you can use your cell hotspot. Apparently.
Okay. Well, as long as you're going to suffer in some fashion, then maybe it counts as camping.
Welcome to Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod. I'm Will.
I'm Brad.
Hello, Brad.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
Hi. I got a bazillion things to do before I go super glamping this weekend. So I don't know.
You better get on it then.
How about you? How's things on the East Coast?
Oh, working remote.
I'm getting that upshot on you. It's weird. Like, usually I get to see the corner of the ceiling. I get to see the cabinet behind you.
I thought about trying to track down like a step stool where I could put the laptop up like this, and then you get the front view. But
they make products specifically for that. It's a little slot thing you put the laptop into.
I keep thinking about hanging a picture on this bare wall behind me, just so there is something there that's not a bare wall.
There's something compelling about the fact that you're in what is clearly, like, I have real basement envy, and I love the little hint of, is this the same? Do you use the same shot when you're doing Nextlander stuff?
Yeah,
too?
This is pretty much the only place in the house that is both quiet enough and has decent enough internet.
I'm very curious about the duck, because I see the duck up behind you on top of the
Oh,
china
wow,
cupboard.
that is a duck. I don't know where that duck. I can't talk and look at the duck at the same time, but that duck looks like it's made out of wood or something.
It looks like a wooden white duck. It's very ducky. I like it. I'm a fan.
I thought you were going to comment on the drop ceiling, but did we talk about that last time I was here?
we did talk about it last time you were here. I don't know if we did on the podcast, but like just generally speaking, I'm envious of basements and drop ceilings because they're very convenient for a lot of things that I'm interested in, even though maybe out of fashion these days in the home sense.
Big same, I can say.
Yeah. I would love to. I would like, I have literally investigated what it would take to dig out under my house and make a basement.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it just earthquake issues that
It's ill-advised.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Well, also the other big problem is that the sewer line goes diagonally under the crawl space from the garage on one corner in the back to the front on the other corner.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so I'd have to dig like 9 feet down to not have that at knocking myself unconscious height.
That's a pretty deep basement.
It's a deep basement.
I'm going to tell you, I'm not a homeowner, but I'm pretty sure I can intuitively say pretty important that the sewer line under your house remain uninterrupted.
Look, you can move anything if you're willing to spend enough money. It's just about commitment, Brad.
I guess that's true.
What are we doing this week?
Questions and answers.
We're turning the Q's into the A's.
Mm-hmm.
As always, if you have a question that you would like to have turned into an answer, you can submit it in the Discord Q's Seeking A's channel, or you can, in the increasingly unlikely chance that you still use email, you can use the email address techpod@content.town and send us a Q there. We do look at those. I looked at them before we started this episode.
Oh, you did? I was going to say, should I establish a new tradition of putting you on the spot for every one of these episodes and asking if you look at the inbox? But you did. Good job.
No.
Good job. But
nope.
Before we start here, shall we promote work that we did elsewhere? It's a radical new idea I've come up with. What if we talk about the other things we do on this thing we do, and then people will know about those other things?
Talk about my Fortnite streams?
Yes, exactly.
I'm getting real into it. Actually.
I have to say, your stream title the last few nights has been choice. What is it? Bearded Gamer Seeks Victory Royales.
Yes. I do like that one.
I highly appreciated that one. That was good work.
That's one of those places I always feel like is there any benefit to putting effort into that? Because it seems like it makes no difference whatsoever.
I like a clever title. Okay. Maybe it's because I have had to come up with numerous titles that I hope are clever over the years. Endless titles. Anyway, we're rambling here. It's late. I think I was going to say, while you were checking the email inbox, I was posting the latest episode of the Foss Pod.
Oh, where we talked to Foon Turing about 3D Movie Maker for Windows 95?
I genuinely did not think we were going to get Foon. We got Foon.
Yeah, I know. It was super exciting. We got Foon, and then Foon was super we could have talked for another hour easily.
I could do like 4 more podcasts with Foon about different topics. That would be great.
Yes,
we did the one at least. So
it's up. You can listen to, if you're hearing this podcast, you can go listen. You should stop listening to this podcast and go listen to that one, and then come back to this one.
Yeah, for
continuity reasons, if nothing else.
Yes, for sure. Okay,
that's at fosspod.content.town.
Yes,
but our email. Our sacrificial email this week comes from Martin, who says, long time, first time, etc. Given that 3D TVs / movies are pretty much no longer a thing, how come they are still putting out really obvious, egregious 3D parts in movies? Really takes me out of it once I notice it. Dialogue scenes unnecessarily being over the shoulder, lots of slow panning without a focus things in the foreground, people unnecessarily walking behind in front of stuff coming really close towards the camera, etc. Is it just for IMAX at this point? Keep up the good work, Martin. The reason they do it is because when you go to a movie theater and you're like, oh, I want to go see Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is only available the time you're there. There's only one showing and it's a 3D showing, and that ticket costs $5 more than the not 3D showing that would be an hour later. They make an extra $5.
That's just math.
Yeah.
Are there still 3D showings? I thought it was completely done. Really?
No, there's still shitloads of 3D. Well, I mean, okay. Full disclosure, I haven't been to a movie in a little bit more than 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. Some shit happened. The 3D showings are still really popular in IMAX, Dolby Cinema, the Cinemark. It's like the premium package. Like you have like the garbage tier theater with no reserve seats, and then you have the reserve seat ones, and then you also have the ones that are like the super bright projector with like weird vibrating chairs and 3D. Those they charge an increasing premium for each of those, and the what is it called, like the landmark experience or whatever, like the quality, this is the good theater one. that's going to be 3D still a lot of the time.
Okay, I didn't know that. I knew all those other amenities were still popular. I thought 3D had pretty much been retired. I guess that's good news for James Cameron because all of those Avatar sequels are extremely 3D.
Well, yeah, and like a ton of animated stuff still comes out in 3D too. So kids, there's nothing. The kids crave 3D. They just can't get enough of it. It turns out.
But I guess I was basing that mostly on 3D TVs no longer being a thing.
Yeah, but the theaters, it's still a valid upsell. And honestly, the Spider-Verse in 3D ripped. It was really cool.
Oh, I believe it. Actually, you know what? It's weird when I say that out loud. Suddenly, I'm like kind of sad you can't get a 3D TV anymore, which is weird because I have a TV that can do it and I never used it.
Did you buy the glasses even?
Oh God, you're right. I do have a pair of glasses. I think I got them free. I think there was some promotion.
Yeah, I got one pair free with a copy of Avatar, I think. And then I would have had to buy a second pair, which I think I maybe did. I don't know. My daughter's really into 3D. I should probably get out the 3D copy of Spider-Verse and plug it in and put the glasses on her. She'd really like that.
Yeah. All right. Shall we?
You want to turn Q's and days?
Some of these Discord questions. Well, you already did. You read a Q and we answered it.
Well, yeah, I know, but now it's official.
We ate it.
Yeah.
Look, email Q's are Q's too.
Okay. That's an official ruling?
Yes.
Very good.
Like that's where we got our start. Don't forget our roots. All right. Do you want me to start? Do you want to start?
Yeah, I can take this first one. Glass Cannon asks a question that has a really easy answer. Let's say you get flattened by an asteroid. What happens to your home automation system? Who is the heir apparent to managing that? Do the lights and locks still work manually? Do you want to do you have an answer here? Or
my answer is that if I get flattened by an asteroid, the entire rest of the planet also gets flattened by the same asteroid. So we should.
Oh, you're not taking the bad luck?
We should. What's that?
You're not taking the bad luck asteroid for the rest of us? It just hits one of us?
I think, no, anything big enough to be considered an asteroid, I think. Well, that's not necessarily true.
That's not true.
I guess they're not all planets.
Get hit by a meteorite. Like that counts.
But that's not the same as an asteroid, right?
Well, an asteroid it becomes a meteorite when it comes into the atmosphere.
No, that's meteors and meteorites.
But it's asteroid. Right? Meteors aren't an independent class. It's just shit that goes into the atmosphere.
Hang on. Now, yeah. This is so not what this question is about.
Okay, the point.
Hang on. Yeah. Hang on. Size and shapes of asteroids vary significantly. Wait, is the only defining characteristic of an asteroid that it originated in the asteroid belt? Is that actually it?
I'll say yes.
Actually, that may not even be the case.
People are yelling at their radios so loud right now.
Oh my God, there are C-type, M-type, and S-type asteroids.
M-type is where the people live.
We should, okay. Let's answer the actual question here.
The actual question is, if something happens to me, then everything that's on Home Assistant is going to collapse within about 3 hours and stop working within a month, I would say.
I mean, luckily in that case, you just go around the house and pulling all the smart plugs, right? And just doing like people did. What did people do before Home Assistant? They plugged the lamps,
a lot of in-wall switches
straight into the wall. That's right.
All the lights turn on and off at specific times of the day.
Yeah.
I took the switches off of a lot of the lamps so that people couldn't turn them off. I wanted to take agency away from the other people in my house because some of us liked playing with switches when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have any locks attached to the Home Assistant because
That's
of the
probably smart.
Yeah, because the house is small enough that you could stand at the front door and say, "Hey, Alexa, unlock the front door," from the front door, and it would unlock. Yeah.
Yikes. I don't think about my home automation so much as my data. Do you ever think about like your personal data? Like,
yeah, I mean, I have the box of hard drives. There's a big cardboard box full of old hard drives in the garage.
I mean, I've got. Well, granted, thankfully, a lot of my family is still living, so they also would care about all these home movies I've got backed up, right? But like,
that's
true. I don't know. This is going to get really morose fast if I keep talking about this. But like, at some point, all the data that you kept that was incredibly important to you personally is not going to mean a thing to anybody who's left.
So there are a fair number of archival projects that actually take old home movies, that they're more interested in that than anything else.
Really? Oh, I can see that.
They want like the slices of life, and they want to see the stores and the backgrounds of the shots from the early VHS days and stuff like that. So like, I want to say Prelinger takes those, but maybe it's one of the associated projects.
God, that is like, now that you say that, like the amount of cultural minutia that you could mine from old home movies is like endless, probably.
Yeah. I sent some old 9mm stuff or 8mm stuff to them that was like my parents from before I was born.
I might have to think about that. That's like kind of a nice way for that stuff to live on.
And if it's something of interest to them, they'll digitize it and send you the originals back and also send you copies. So, and I believe, I can't remember, but I think you can even say, hey, I don't want this to be public until after my death or whatever, if you're concerned about that stuff.
Huh. Okay.
It's kind of the thing that Foon talked about where they'll hold on to the stuff so it's preserved.
Right.
Without necessarily. Yeah, it's interesting though, because like the thing you mentioned is like it's really hard to find stuff from pre-Google at this point.
Yes, it certainly is.
Well, what's the next question?
How about question from Crashdown? I took apart a computer that had an eSATA front port. Did anyone on planet Earth ever actually use eSATA?
I have eSATA drives. I used eSATA a lot.
I have no. I started to say I have no idea what it is. I maybe have a vague inkling of what it might be, but like, what exactly does eSATA?
So it's external SATA. All it is is a SATA. It's a robust external SATA plug that you can use, get a full speed 6G SATA interface outside the computer.
I think the thing that's confused me is, aren't there like kind of hybrid eSATA ports on some motherboards?
No. That's
or am I conflating with something else?
You're conflating that with the hybrid NVMe.
No. This is like on a 2015 motherboard. It's the board in my NAS actually. Like, I'll have to look. I'll have to check.
They did. So there have been a bunch of weirds. There's SATA Express, which was like a PCI Express to SATA bridge.
That might be what I'm thinking. It might be a hybrid SATA Express.
Yeah, like the SATA Express is like a double high SATA port that you can also just plug two individual SATA devices into.
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
I think it's called SATA Express. That might be right, but nobody used that. That literally, I never saw a device that used that wasn't a server or enterprise thing.
Okay. Got it.
The eSATA ports were like front panel connector ports. They look like weird one directional, like they don't have the key in the same way that internal SATA ports do. And they were a little bit more chunky so that it was harder to break off the stump on the connector like you can with a normal SATA connector.
And do they carry power and data, I assume?
Only data.
Really?
So the power was always via an external brick, which is one of the things that killed them as a product. They basically became irrelevant the moment USB 3 got faster than SATA, which was like 3.1, I think, or 3.2 generation 1 or whatever the hell the stupid new naming scheme is.
Yeah. All right.
I used it on my HP Windows Home Server box.
Asked and answered. I'm just going to go ahead and ask this question right after that you bolded from Glenn. Because you said there's a technical answer to this question. Where do you draw the line between noodles and pasta, or is pasta a subset of noodles? This is my addendum here. I would have assumed that noodles are a subset of pasta, that it's the other way around, but.
Oh, pasta is 100% a subset of noodles.
Noodles, sure. Yes.
Noodles existed for thousands upon thousands of years before pasta was invented.
You know what? Like pasta has become such a generic term at this point that it completely failed to register. Also, we're recording this one pretty late. It failed to register with me that it is Italian in origin.
Yeah. Well, so I want to find a food anthropologist, like a historical anthropologist who specializes in food that we can just ask a series of stupid questions to.
That would be fantastic.
They found 4,000-year-old noodles in China.
Okay.
Preserved. So noodles have been around for a really long time. The big difference is in preparation, and pasta generally is flour, specific types of flour, whereas noodles can be made with any sorts of grains, and even like mung beans can be dried and ground up and stuff like that.
Yes, we had some chickpea pasta recently that was quite good.
Yeah. But the techniques are different, and the derivation is different. So typically China, Asia is where noodles originated, and often a noodle is heartier than pasta. So like if you put pasta in a casserole, it's going to get into a gooey, mushy, glutinous mess. If you put noodles in a casserole, they'll hold up to the cooking.
Sure.
You want to do this cake batter question?
There's a lot of cake batter questions in here.
Okay, yes. Cake batter won the award this month for the most questions submitted, I think, by far. Cake batter says, I have all my space heaters, their oil radiators, on smart plugs. Am I a maverick who is risking their home for the convenience of a Home Assistant controlled thermostat? Yes, absolutely. Don't plug anything into Home Assistant that could burn your house down. That's my considered advice.
a runaway software bug that has control to some kind of like incendiary device.
Well, I mean, it's more that you just like space heaters, those oil radiator ones. I've only used them like once or twice in like rental houses in Tahoe and stuff, but like I don't know how hot they get. I don't know if they get hot to like if somebody put a blanket or a piece of clothing on top of one, would it catch on fire? I don't know. It seems scary.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
I would not hook anything with oil in it up to any kind of computerized automation.
The oil in this case is just like for conveying the heat from the heating element up to a larger radiating element, I believe.
Not something that burns?
It's not like, it's just this. I believe that that's the case. I don't know. But we don't live someplace where we have to have heaters, really, it turns out.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Out here you do, but...
Well, I mean, where you are now, yes, you definitely need heaters.
Boy, do they have weather here. I forgot what weather is like. It has rained. It rained more today here than I think it has rained in San Francisco in the last year.
Really? My dad sent me a picture and was like, this is how much it rained in the last 3 hours. And it was a picture of a wheelbarrow that was like half filled with water.
It poured and poured today all day long. I forgot what that was like. It's kind of nice some days.
I mean, we get that in January.
Okay. Not as much. Maybe you do down there, but in our particular microclimate, rain is kind of a thing of the past. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
How about unimaginative pseudonym asks, when will color e-readers happen so I can read comics on them?
Well, they already happened. They're called iPads. You should just buy one of those.
I'm just some real Don Matrick energy on that answer. We have an e-reader for you. It's called an iPad.
Yes. The problem with color e-readers is that typically by the time you get to a device that is complicated and enough to need, these prototype screens that do this have existed for a long time. They're used in some weird applications. They don't generally look good enough that you're going to want to read a comic book on them. And in order to get 3 colors out of an e-reader mechanism, they get big and heavy and power hungry to the point that it's usually just better to put an LCD in. So
sure. That makes sense. I saw a headline. I just pulled it up here from late April that e-ink's Gallery 3 technology is getting closer. But like you said, what does closer mean in the context of like what's actually worth using?
Look, I famously said that HP was into WebOS for the long haul about 3 days before they pulled the plug on WebOS and sold it to somebody. Mm-hmm. So like it's entirely possible I'm wrong here. All I'm saying is to date, the e-ink prototypes and demos that I have seen for color are worse in every way than an LCD and don't have the benefits that black and white e-ink has over, say, a normal LCD phone screen.
Yeah, I believe that. It looks like this latest iteration of this technology, speed, is the big improvement.
Well, the problem with them that I saw was that they always were weirdly shiny in a way that like you don't like the neat thing about e-ink with black and white is it looks kind of like paper, but just with a backlight. It's like glowy paper.
Right.
And with the color ones, they always had a weird sheen to them that it made them not look like they didn't look like paper, which defeated the purpose.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I think you're probably better off with a tablet for probably some number of years still before something like that is worth getting.
Everybody loves tablets.
Mm-hmm. Simply Bagel has a cool question here.
Okay.
Or rather a cool solution to their question.
Ooh.
What do you do with the stickers that come with graphics cards or other computer hardware? I have a weird tradition of hiding them inside my computer case. I really like that. That's cool.
Ooh, I love that.
That's neat.
I have little filing cabinets next to my computer desk that I stick them all on.
That's not bad.
What do you do?
Inside of my case has like fuzzy sound dampening material on it, so I can't stick a lot of stickers in there.
There's still a place you could hide it, though. You work hard enough.
Where the sun does not shine inside the computer.
I wasn't suggesting you put it in your butt, Brad.
Oh, the computer, somewhere in the computer where the sun doesn't shine.
Oh, yeah. Hey, can we have a dedicated Q&A episode of people sending in their tech peeves and you rating them? So that's what we got last week or last month.
Yes. I don't know how that one went over on the Discord.
I don't think we landed that one very well.
Not sure.
I wasn't. It wasn't our best episode. I'll be the first to admit it.
I think there were quite a few comments along the lines of like, well, we've investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing.
Yeah.
But,
Hey, Bravenbark has a question. Honorable mention to Bravenbark for the most questions, second most questions submitted.
Bravenbark asked quite a few questions.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. We're not, to be clear, we're not complaining.
No, we love they were good. It was hard to pick. Coming from the South, did you guys ever eat white rice, milk, and sugar as a cereal like dessert? It was one of my favorites growing up. We would do that and put a little cinnamon or nutmeg on it.
That sounds really good. I don't know why we never did that. I've never heard of such a thing.
We often would have that for breakfast in the winter.
Wow.
Like a warm, take leftover rice, warm it up, put milk and sugar and cinnamon on it. Damn. And that was like breakfast before going to school.
That sounds pretty great. Actually, basically the only way we ate rice when I was a kid was with gravy on it. That was it.
Yeah.
Rice and gravy was the dish. That was like the only place that rice existed for quite a few years for me.
My mom didn't like mashing potatoes, so we would often have gravy at Thanksgiving. And I didn't know for a long time that like mashed potatoes and gravy were like a Thanksgiving thing. It was a revolution when I had mashed potatoes, because we would have rice and gravy.
No, sure, of course. But wait, are you saying that even afterwards that was exclusively a Thanksgiving thing?
No. I just didn't know that it was like mashed potatoes and gravy are a thing that most people associate as a Thanksgiving staple.
I guess so. Maybe we ate more mashed potatoes and gravy than we should have, because that was like an all year thing for us.
Yeah, I think my mom just doesn't like mashing potatoes, if I had to guess. She always did it with the hand mixer. It was not a good.
I get it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. How about TJ Mullen? Why did modems make the audible noise when connecting to the internet? The way I'm interpreting this question, I don't think they're asking like, what did the noise signify or why did it exist? But like maybe why was it made audible?
Well, you could turn it off on most modems.
I think I did that after a while. Did you? I think at some point, I feel like at some point the novelty wore off where I was like, this is cool. This sounds neat, but I've heard it enough. I'm just going to mute it. Like I'm online so much now that I don't need to hear this anymore. Whoa. Wow. That was like an eerie kind of a otherworldly whistle that you just produced. I can't whistle.
I'm not a great whistler.
I can't whistle at all.
Really?
Can you do that again?
Hold on. I have to lick my lips.
Ugh. Nope. Like it was at the beginning, it sounded like a Star Trek communicator or something. There was something computerized about it.
I can't chirp. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I used to leave that on so I could tell when somebody else picked up the phone.
Okay.
Because when it would try to renegotiate, it would kick back out and the speaker would come back on. You'd be able to hear the.
Wait, I didn't know. Was that a specific feature of only some modems?
It may have been something that I had to do on my specific modem. Yeah.
Okay. Because I definitely, whenever somebody would pick up the phone in my house, that was it.
It would just stop.
Done. Yeah.
Oh, usually I think it had to do with like, my guess is it's an error correction thing. And if somebody picked it up and put it down fast enough, it would recover.
Sure.
I know that my little sister would get in she would literally pick up the phone. She'd hear the bad sound. She'd be like, and then she'd just start mashing touchtone buttons until it disconnected.
That's not cool.
No, it wasn't okay.
That's extremely uncool. Actually,
I was pretty upset. I was trying to see my Quake news over on Redwood Stomping Grounds. Mm-hmm. You know, I wanted to know what was happening on the plan file updates.
How are you going to download the newest version of 3-Wave?
That's what I said. Should we do this Warbird question?
Sure. Finally, a Warbird question worthy of being read. Except
why
I lost
the hell won't Apple put out a damn cloud native VM image so I don't have to have a Mac Mini sitting in a literal closet to do iOS work? I know Tim Apple went to Auburn, but I didn't think he was that dumb. And no, Xamarin doesn't count.
So I put the cart before the horse. I looked up Xamarin, and I'm not quite sure how that factors into this question.
It seems like it has nothing to do with this at all.
I didn't see that it seems to be especially related to virtualizing macOS or whatever, but I would like to know this as well, because I've also been thinking about setting up a Mac VM recently.
It is a pain.
It is. Like, I don't remember what the specifics are, but like, I want to say that macOS is tied to some kind of specific unique hardware identifiers or something like that. And that's why you can't just get an image that works. You tell me.
My understanding was you're basically in the same boat as people who are making homebrew Macs with equivalent Apple hardware or Intel hardware. So yeah, I don't know. I think that they should do this. This seems like it is This is as goofy a decision on their part as charging people to compile applications for their platform. And it seems like they would benefit greatly by making this more accessible and easier to do for people who maybe don't have Macs to build iOS apps. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you should be able to build iOS apps using an iOS device too. Like, call me crazy.
That seems sensible.
I think they should make Xcode for iPad.
Oh, okay. So I've got a couple bookmarks for this project. I've been meaning to set up one of these VMs, and I don't remember exactly what it is about the macOS image that you can download that won't just virtualize, but I do know that the key, the OSK string that you use in the course of setting up a Mac VM is only available on the internet because it came out of discovery in some lawsuit.
Oh, great.
Like, it came out of a public court document. So I'm literally reading on this GitHub repo for the secret Apple OSK string is widely available on the internet. It is also included in a public court document available here. I'm not a lawyer, but it seems that Apple's attempts to get the OSK string treated as a trade secret did not work out. Due to these reasons, the OSK string is freely included in this repository. So I assume it's not legally actionable. Not that they're going to come after you.
For me, the big issue with doing anything like that is business critical or personally mission critical on something that's janky at that level is that at some point it's going to stop working. And inevitably, in my past experience doing this stuff, the moment that I need to use that device the most is the moment that it will stop working. And then I will have a problem that usually involves me going out and spending money on something. So
sure,
I just buy it in advance.
Yeah.
Cut out the middleman. That's not what cut out the middleman means, but you know. Gage 006 says, I have an old tower that's been collecting dust for at least a year with the intention of repurposing it for network storage. What project have you been putting off for far too long?
Oh, that's a good question. I thought that was going to be specifically about what would you use an old case for? And my answer to that is it's hard for me to want to put an old PC into service for much of anything anymore because they are so power hungry.
Depends on how old, but yeah.
And most everything will run on something much smaller these days, but that's not what they were asking about. Let's see. I installed WireGuard on my router before I left and then didn't actually set it up.
Ooh.
And have continued to use my L2TP VPN while I've been out here. I've been thinking about setting up the WireGuard VPN over the old VPN. Is that rude? Is that rude to the old
VPN?
VPN?
My WireGuard VPN over the old VPN because I was tired of the old VPN being slow and bad.
Yeah, I should do that. It seems like it does not take long.
It's easier for me to pick the things that I actually got going because I tend to stall out and then not pick something back up.
Yeah.
I have to redo the rest of I want to redo my office so I can not have to green screen all the time if I don't want to.
Yes.
I have like shelves that I picked out. I haven't bought them yet, but like I want to put shelves up and build a back fascia that'll block the window so that, because the reason I switched to a green screen in the first place was that the window is square in the middle of that space and it shines through, it faces west. So in the afternoon, it's always backlit. And it was bad for video conferencing. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that seems like a good one.
I've gotten so used to your little pixelated, colorful grid background though. Nobody can see this but me.
Well, no, this is the one I use on streams too.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Well, not right now, but when I have backgrounds on streams, I do. I got another one if you want.
Sure.
I lost it because I scrolled idly. Oh, here we go. This is Running Mutton. Says, I have a 10-year-old who's a keen coder and dreams of being a game dev. He's been following tutorials on Unity, has built himself a game, but isn't happy tinkering with it and is desperate to share his creations and see what people think. Do you know of a website, service, place for kids sharing stuff like game creations or someplace where that would be appropriate? Thanks in advance. Love the show.
Oh, that is a good question.
So that's not exactly... for example, you can make an itch page and upload a Unity executable to that, and so he can share it with his friends. If that's what you're looking for, like anybody can make an itch page, I believe. I don't think you might have to be more than 13, so you might have to do it for him.
Yeah.
If you are looking for a place that is a community that'll kind of foster that, I've heard very good things about the Scratch community, the MIT Scratch community.
MIT, did you say?
It's scratch.mit.edu, I think. And it's kind of an environment, I guess is the best way to put it, probably, where you can write code to build basic, simple games. A lot of like there's a lot of like 2D runners and stuff like that. And share them with other people and get ratings and feedback and comments and all of that stuff. You got to be careful with the community there, especially for younger kids. So I would say,
is it not like heavily moderated, or what's the deal?
It is challenging to moderate anything at this kind of scale for something other than Google or Facebook or Twitter or a big giant company.
I was going to say, I mean, MIT is MIT, but still academia tackling something like that, probably not.
They've built tools to self-moderate, but still I would supervise my kids if it were me.
This does look cool, though. I'm clicking through a bunch of projects here. There's some neat looking stuff.
It's neat. And what I would say, that the people I know, so my daughter's not really into learning to code, but the people I know whose kids are, and I've talked to about this, have all said, everything's great until you make something that's actually successful and like gets on the front page, and then it kind of goes sideways. But if you just want to get stuff, build stuff and share it with your friends and noodle around, then it's perfect for that. And that's actually like, there's something really nice about letting kids develop hobbies and learn things without immediately putting them in situations where the platforms are trying to monetize them, like Roblox does.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's scratch.mit.edu.
Yeah.
Is there something like this for adults? I mean, like, I don't think I should be creepy old guy hanging around this place.
Glitch is kind of like this for adults. I don't know if you know about Glitch.
Oh.
Anil Dash and a bunch of folks. Anil is one of the movable type founders. Made this thing called Glitch. That's basically like a server community packet. It's like an easy way to build web apps, basically, that doesn't require you to have hosting or whatever. And it's similar. Like, a lot of people make Glitch games and weird stuff with Glitch. It's cool. They just got bought by, I think, Fastly. I can't remember. I didn't know what Fastly was before that, for what it's worth.
Or do I? Here's one from Shaitan.
Yes.
Should we go with that?
Sounds good.
Am I the only one who goes around their house yelling, "Hey Siri," because they can't find their phone? That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I do that all the time.
That's not bad. That's some good Siri engineering.
I'm going to tell you, this is, like, I've talked about why the watch is stupid and awesome sometimes. This is my favorite stupid thing, is I can pull up the control center on the watch and make.
Yes. I was introduced to that by a family member for the first time.
It's the business.
Ago. It's awesome. That's pretty
I
awesome.
don't know if it's worth buying a $400 watch, but
maybe not.
Pretty good.
Good fringe benefit.
Hey Siri is I'll take the yelling Hey Siri and the $400, I guess.
I can't do that because I am a not leaving microphones listening absolutist. I turn off everything I possibly can in that vein. Why are you shaking your head?
You should just disconnect the microphone from your iPhone, open it up, cut the wire, and then you're safe.
Oh yeah, now you're talking.
I mean, it kind of removes a little bit of the functionality from the phone.
Suppose that's true. I don't need to talk to people ever.
Okay.
Question from Scott is alarmed. I can't remember if we've taken this one before. I don't think so. Just out of curiosity, why don't either of you daily drive an open source OS? Have we taken that?
We've talked about it a little bit off and on, but I can't because of my job.
Yeah.
Like, I make video games. It's hard to make video games on not Windows.
Yeah, I mean, like, kind of the same thing for playing games for me, although Proton obviously is improving by leaps and bounds constantly. But
yeah, but like, when you're evaluating a game,
yes, absolutely.
Hard. It feels unfair. I mean, well, now that Valve is coming out and saying, "Hey, this game will work with Proton," it's a little bit different situation.
I guess so. Yeah, but yeah, like back in the day, when we were observing rigorous editorial standards, yes, we absolutely never would review a game outside of its intended environment.
Yeah. Like we wouldn't even review if a game said it required Windows 7, we wouldn't review it on Windows XP or whatever, even if you could force it to run.
Right. It's actually less games for me on Windows and more just like esoteric apps. Like, I don't know of anything as good as Foobar 2000, for example, for playing old synthesized game music. Just as a random example. There's so much stuff that gets made for Windows that isn't necessarily available for other platforms just because of its ubiquity.
It's funny. I had that same experience when I was using a Mac as my like daily work driver. I had built such a lovely little toolkit of Mac apps that were kind of, a lot of them were like single use things for like formatting text or stripping formatting from text more accurately, and stuff like that. And like I had a word processor that I absolutely loved that was just a full screen white page with no nonsense around it. And like a lot of those, I miss a lot of those apps. They're gone. I mean, they don't exist on Windows in the same way a lot of times.
Right. Actually, I will say on this Mac, since I've been spending time on this laptop, shout out to Teddy on the Discord for introducing me to COG. C-O-G.
What's COG?
It's just a little music player for Mac OS, but it plays most of those synth formats for old consoles that I use foobar for on Windows.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's highly recommended. But I like Windows is pretty good, like with Windows Subsystem for Linux and stuff. And also with like, I'm trying to think how to describe this, like Windows ships with an SSH client now. Like you can do a lot more in Windows than you used to be able to, right? Like
the things that used to be hard or require some third-party software now are more or less integrated or easy to do.
Yeah. Like I've probably said this before, but like Windows desktop, Mac laptop, like open source server, either Linux or FreeBSD or whatever. Like that's kind of the life I like to live.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know that I need a Mac laptop anymore. I kind of want an iPad. I haven't had an iPad in a long time.
I think we will talk about this on the Patreon episode this month. I am kind of falling head over heels for this MacBook. And the more time I spend with it, and the more I get set up, like the more I find the tools that I need and get them installed.
It's funny. Gina's due for a laptop upgrade, and we're trying to hold out for M2 MacBook Airs because that's firmly in her wheelhouse.
An Air specifically, does that fit her use case?
I mean, she uses it for like web browsing and nothing. Like the heaviest thing she does is maybe edit a little tiny video. So yeah.
It seems like the M2 Airs might be out this year.
I mean, my assumption is they're going to hit in time for grad season.
Yeah,
first
that's possible.
Start of school would be my guess, but
that is possible.
Fingers crossed. I made her. I was like, hey, you don't want to buy this because it's 2 years old right now, and she's like, oh, I'll wait. Okay.
Do you use the Mac Rumors Buyer's Guide?
No,
you don't.
Nope.
It's pretty good. It's pretty handy.
If I need something, I just buy it. It turns out.
Well, that's fair, but like they do a really good job of tracking because you know how Apple is. Like they never lower prices; they just roll out a new thing at the same price, right?
Yeah, they have patterns though.
So well, that's what they track, like number of days since last release, like average length of time between releases, stuff like that.
Oh my God! See, that's too much. Too much.
It's all just green, red, and gray. Like it's just three colors. It's like, hey, is it green? Then buy. Is it red? Then don't. Because they're probably going to put one out next month.
Oh, fair. I mean, as long as you buy it within 14 days of when they announce it, you can just send it back and get the new one.
Fair.
Should we? I've got a very serious question from Millhouse Phoenix here.
Okay.
Could a person actually do a Scrooge McDuck high dive into a pile of real world currency? If yes, would notes be better than coins, and which currency would be best? Okay, it has to be notes, right?
I was going to say, I don't think there's much debate there about paper money versus metal in terms of like diving head first.
Yeah, because the coins you would die.
Yes.
Literally die. You'd break your arms, you'd break your fingers and then your arms and then probably your neck.
Yeah.
Also, you'd suffocate. It's like lava. it's like when you're watching a cartoon and somebody sinks into lava. That's such horse shit. Because like lava is way more dense than a person. Like you're going to float on top of the lava as you're burning to death if you fall into the lava. Yes, it's not good.
You're going to incinerate.
Yeah. Don't believe the cartoons, man. They're propaganda from the faceless multinationals. Big
magma is trying to keep you down.
I would go for one of the plastic currencies though, because I don't want to get paper cuts.
Oh, do you mean like the plasticky paper?
Yeah, the plasticky paper. Like a lot of European, like the euro is a plastic currency now, isn't it?
Really? But is it like very noticeably plastic?
Hey, this is a new segment, Euro Facts with Will and Brad. Note composition. I'm Googling this I'm DuckDuckGoing this as we speak.
Oh boy. Live research.
Euro banknotes are pure cotton fiber.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I think American currency has gotten like more synthetic over time, right?
I don't
maybe
know.
Not by feel. It still feels kind of like it always has, I guess, but I know what you're talking about. I've certainly heard of.
Yeah, there's like some paper currencies now. It feels almost like luggage tags in that it feels like indestructible but plasticky.
Wow, that's just straight plastic.
Yeah, it's like a vinyl composition. Yeah. I would love to do an episode about luggage tags too.
You know, if you were as rich as Scrooge McDuck, you could pay somebody else to dive into your money and see what happened.
I don't think it's as fun to watch somebody else dive in the money.
I suppose not.
You know what I do like though is watching somebody learn how to use it. I'm going to go ahead and tell you my completely off topic. A fantastic genre of video to look at on YouTube is people learning how to ride unicycles.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
It's really hard and the wipeouts are hilarious and usually not particularly hurty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never really thought about the hurtiness of the injuries, but
I don't like
I am not a person who enjoys watching people hurt themselves. So
yeah, no, I don't want that. But I do like watching light human suffering. You know,
okay, sure.
Just, a hilarious fall, great every time.
Yes. Benign suffering is totally fine.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Got any more?
I think there's a couple more in here. I'm scrolling. We went out of order this month, which was maybe a mistake.
I mean, I've been sitting on this one, which I thought might be the end, but from Fortune. Cats are pets, Will. Cats are pets.
Look.
What happened? What do I need to know?
Okay, so I talked some shit about cats a few weeks ago, but the point wasn't that I don't think cats are pets. It's that I think if you have a cat, you are the cat's pet, not the other way around.
Boy, that's a harsh judgment.
No, it's not. The cat's train. Look, I work with a lot of cat people. Okay, our company logo is a black Bombay cat.
That's right. Where did the name come from? Is that actually
Chet's cat? Is a stray Bombay that he found.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there was a literal cat.
Yeah. So Boris is the logo. Boris is a lovely cat. Shout out to Boris. He comes down. Boris often comes and graces us during calls by showing us his butt while he's engaging with Chet.
Just because he can.
Look, it's his prerogative. But the cat has everybody that I see that I work with that has cats. The cats have their humans incredibly well trained. Like Chloe never had us trained as well as these cats have these people trained. They play with them, they pet them, whatever they want. They just come up and they're like, yeah, hey, entertain me, human. And then they, with no seeming affection, they just wander off and, as soon as they're done with you. So
yes, occasionally cats will deign to allow you to interact with them.
Yeah, I'm allergic to cats, so we can't have an indoor cat pet. So I will never know the joy and heartbreak of having a cat for a pet inside the house.
Maybe you should just get like a dozen cats and expose yourself until you're fine.
We had a barn cats when I was a kid. That's enough.
Did not work.
Barn cats, they live fast and hard lives.
Do they?
Depends.
Wait, hang on. Do you feed them or do you just you're on your own?
You feed them, yeah. Jesus.
I'm kind of joking, but
barn cats, they're just outside, so they're exposed to like raccoons and possums and stuff like that, and sometimes can have deleterious effects on their longevity. Although we had like a couple of one of the barn cats we had when I was a kid was 18 years old when he finally passed. So
yeah, our cat growing up was an outside cat, and I didn't realize until much later that that's not actually that common, is it? Or is it just that I'm in a rural enough area that we didn't care?
I think where we were, our place was big enough that the cat wouldn't really range outside of the area where the cats would go to the barn and the house, and that was pretty much it.
Okay.
At least as near as we could tell. You're not also we weren't where there were really any predators for them other than like raccoons and possums, which were kind of even money.
We definitely have all kinds of stuff around here. Coyotes, bears.
Yeah. I don't know if we have bears. We have mountain lions, coyotes, and bobcats where I live.
I wonder if is a fox. Well, I wonder how a fox relates to a cat in terms of predatory behavior.
Foxes. So my parents have a lot of foxes where they live, and they seem to be kind of cowards. They eat like chickens and small stuff.
Sure.
But I feel like anything that they feel is going to be even slightly a threat, they'll just run away from.
That's fair.
Yeah. It's a good strategy. Do you think that's it? Should we wrap it up?
Yeah. Do you want to do this FOSPod question? We talked about doing that.
Yeah, we can do the FOSPod question.
From Grant.
Hi, Grant.
How much oversight and input does Google have on FOSPod episode topics?
Not much. When we were starting out, we talked about the kind of the framing for what we wanted the show to be about. And we all agreed that we didn't want to do that. The world didn't need more podcasts about enterprise software on Linux.
Yeah. That's the closest thing to a mandate we've had is just hey, make it relatable for normal people.
Yeah.
That this would be better served being something that everybody can kind of understand and benefit from.
Yeah, the goal with the FOSSPod on both of our sides was to make other people excited about open source, make everybody excited about open source, not just the enterprise people and the people doing like using open source software for work.
Right.
But yeah, so we and then they help us sometimes book guests if we ask for introductions to folks that they might know and we don't know.
Yes, they've been good for helping to put us in touch with people.
But yeah, we have a regular meeting where we kind of talk about what's coming up and to see if they think they can help or if they have something else that they can contribute. But they're excited about the show and just want to help us grow the show is their main contribution.
Yeah.
And they pay for it, which is also really nice.
Yes.
It turns out.
Yeah. It's a good way to get help.
It turns out it's much easier to get help with things if you have money to pay people. Yes.
It's been a good way to convince people to help us with the show is to not ask them to do it for free.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we should end the show by thanking our patrons.
Yeah. Thank you, patrons.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to us stumble and ramble our way through this sort of late night Q&A.
Yeah, this week, because I'm out of town this weekend and you're on the East Coast, we've had a little bit of trouble finding a time to record. So I'm glad we managed to squeak it out at the end. And we'll have a patron episode early next week is the plan, probably Tuesday night.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you to all of our patrons. If you want to find out how to support the 100% listener supported TechPod, you can go to patreon.com/TechPod and sign up for as little as $2 a month. And since this is the last regular episode of the month, we want to thank all of our executive and associate producer tier patrons, including at the executive producer level, Andrew Slosky, Bunny Thorpe 7321 Crimes. I don't even know what that is. Is that the Unicode key for the hash Octothorpe?
Oh, I bet. That's a good call. We should check on that. I get the Bunny Fiend is quite a generous benefactor. They also support Nextlander stuff. So I get a preview of their weekly username change over there. And then we show up here and
it's the same username. Oh, interesting.
And I get it again, but nobody has known exactly what that one means, but I think you're probably the closest.
There you go. Paddle Creek Games, makers of Fractured Veil, David Allen, Jacob Chappell, James Kamek, and Joel Krauska, and Just Wedge. Oh, and also The Sound of Twinkies. I'm still going. Sorry.
Yes.
So thank you all. Thank you to all our executive producers, and also thank you to our associate producers, including Andre M. Burke, Arthur Geese, Dave Yulian, Eric Klein, Graham Banks, Jad Rita, Jason Nealand, Jay Mabey, Jorge Pereira, Josh Klein, Julian, Mike Bell, Nathan Phelps, Sanchit Kumar, Steve Lynn, Terry Cox, Thomas Shea, and Travis Rosner. I think there's more of them. This is a lot. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you to patrons new and old.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody. We had my favorite new username this month or this week is the Picard Maneuver.
Okay.
So shout out to the Picard Maneuver, which I you know what the Picard Maneuver is, of course.
I do.
There's two.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Which Picard maneuver are you familiar with?
The one where you engage your warp drive for a fraction of a second so that it looks like your ship is in two places at once.
Yes, that is one. But also...
Oh, yes. Okay. The uniform tug.
Also, Commander Riker refers to the standing up from the captain's chair and pulling the front of the shirt down as you walk forward as the Picard maneuver.
Do you know about the whole thing with the uniforms?
Yeah.
The first couple seasons, they had those like spandex or whatever material it was.
They were onesies, weren't they?
Like unit. What's the unitard? I think is the.
Yeah, they zipped up in the back.
Right. It's a one jumpsuit onesie.
Yeah. And
they were straight up getting back problems from because the other thing is the Roddenberry insisted everybody in the future wears 100% form fitting clothing. No room for wiggle at all. And so the things were so tight that they actually were getting back problems because they couldn't stand up straight.
Well, and you couldn't put them on by yourself. And also if you got the wrong one, you would get, you'd be either too low in the rise, too high in the rise, or anyway, they didn't seem comfortable.
Yes. Apparently they revolted before the third season and said, you changed these uniforms or we are not continuing to act on this show.
And weird. It's about the time the show started getting really good. So
yeah,
there you go. Star Trek factoids.
Mm-hmm.
Did we find out? Did we confirm that 7321 is the Unicode?
I did not.
Oh,
is that easy? I bet a Unicode search is easy to find. Are we doing it?
I did it. It is not. It's a glyph.
Yes, it's a Georgian letter. It looks like. Correct?
I don't know.
The mystery deepens.
Well, maybe we'll find out next week.
That's right.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We will see you all then with another episode of the Tech Pod. Bye.